I often get this question. First, it's important to note the Cuban embargo still stands. It's going to take an act of Congress to remove the embargo. But what has changed? Let's go over it. On December 17, 2014, President Obama made a historic announcement. He said, "Today, the U.S. is taking historic steps to chart a new course in our relations with Cuba and to further engage and empower the Cuban people." By January 16, 2015, a month later, the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, which is OFAC, they amended their Cuban Assets Control regulations, and the U.S. Department of Commerce's Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, amended their Export Administration regulations, known as the EAR, with a Support for the Cuban People license exception. Both OFAC and BIS's new rules were effective as of that same date, January 16, 2015. In this article, published by the Daily Business Review, entitled, "What does the end of a Cuban embargo actually mean?" I discuss all of the changes to both OFAC and BIS's regulations and what this means for U.S. business. The new changes announced provide a revision to the regulations and have a substantial impact on travel, telecom, building materials and agricultural equipment, financial services, and personal importations. You should ensure you consult with a customs and international trade law expert before engaging in any transactions with Cuba. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the 5 major changes made by both OFAC and the BIS, and at the end, I'll provide you additional resources for more information. Number 1, personal importations. So the first and most popular question I often receive, can I bring back and sell Cuban cigars? Authorized travelers to Cuba can import into the U.S. $400 worth of goods from Cuba, of which no more than $100 can be tobacco products and alcohol combined. Unfortunately, personal use only, so no, you may not sell them. Number 2, travel. Travel to Cuba for tourist-related activity is still not authorized. But the major change, specific licenses are no longer necessary if you're traveling to Cuba under one of the 12 authorized traveler categories. I discuss and give you a list of all 12 of those categories in the published Daily Business Review article I mentioned. Number 3, telecom. Some major items now authorized without a license are exports to Cuba of certain consumer communication devices and telecommunication services. Number 4, building materials, tools, equipment, and supplies. Certain commercially sold or donated items may now be exported to Cuba without a license. They are building materials and tools for use by the private sector. For example, tools and equipment for private sector agricultural activity, and tools, equipment, supplies, and instruments for use by private sector entrepreneurs. I recently watched Discovery's Cuban Chrome TV series filmed in Cuba, and given how valuable car parts are, I expect to see this exception taken advantage of. Number 5, financial services. A major change is authorized travelers to Cuba are now able to use U.S. credit and debit cards with a removal of the per diem spending limit. Although you can use your credit and debit card when in Cuba, not all the banks are authorizing the transaction. So, if you go to Cuba, bring cash. Diplomatic relations with Cuba is an ongoing, fluid topic. Diaz Trade Law stays abreast of all the changes to U.S. law and keeps our clients in tune with the changes and business opportunities. In this article, published in the DBR Daily Business Review, and my many blog posts on this topic, all are available to you at diaztradelaw.com. Contact me with any questions related to doing business with Cuba. Let me be your customs and international trade law expert. For more information, please visit diaztradelaw.com.